I found out that he's got a history of this, actually. There's literally a Facebook page called, it's on Exhibit H.
Are you referring to the Facebook page,
Yes.
Mark Joshua Cartier screwed me over?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you become aware of this page, and did you contact anyone else?
I reached out to some other filmmakers who I had heard had bad experiences with him. And lo and behold, there's literally dozens of them. And one of them is actually here with us today.
You have a witness?
I do.
Officer Montejano, can you please bring in the plaintiff's witness?
Stand to the right of the plaintiff.
Yeah.
Could you state your name for the record, sir?
Arthur Tiersky.
Have you met the defendant, Mr. Joshua, before?
I have, many years ago.
What was the context of your meeting him?
Well, we became friends, and he was a filmmaker at the time. I was a screenwriter, and we agreed to produce a movie named Fist in the Eye that he would direct, that I wrote. And I managed to get some investment money from benevolent relatives, and the defendant embezzled it all.
How much money did you get?
A total of about $170,000.
Why do you say, and what's your evidence of embezzlement?
The money came from relatives of mine. It was clearly for the investment of the movie. Mark was given the money, and it was put in an LSC account that he opened. Exhibit E will show that the account was pretty much empty long before we started shooting, and when money ever got put into it, it was immediately transferred out.
Where are you looking? What page?
Page 24. These are just examples from the statements. There is a $24,000 payment to title services. Well, that had nothing to do with the movie. That was about a house that the defendant purchased.
Let me hear from the defendant. Mr. Joshua, what happened to Mr. Tiersky's money?
We spent it making a movie called Fist in the Eye.
Was the movie ever made?
Yes, it was. I mean, he's seen the movie. I have the movie on a hard drive at my home or in my garage.
What evidence do you have that he embezzled?
The original $100,000 never went into the LLC. He spent it on himself, and then we got another $40,000, another $30,000, and that was put in the LLC and immediately spent.
He says the movie was made
No,
and you saw it.
There was a couple weeks of shooting out of 14 days out of 20, and then eventually on day 14 we had to stop because there was no money left, and none of the cast, none of the crew ever got paid.
That is
Did
not
you
true.
file a complaint against the defendant?
I did not, because it took several months before I finally put the whole story together, and by that time I also saw that the defendant had forged my name to open a credit line. And
Do you have evidence of that forgery?
I do. Exhibit F. It was months after we shot the movie. Had nothing to do with the movie.
When was the movie completed, Mr. Joshua?
I believe it was 2005.
2005. It looks like this credit line was opened 2 years after the film.
No, I mean,
Did
I
you
may have
forge
been
his
wrong about the
signature?
year.
Did you forge
no,
his signature?
of course not. Absolutely not.
Was this a convertible note too?
I don't find this witness's testimony relevant on any issue. First of all, it's a trial within a trial that the defendant was not prepared to defend himself on. The fact that he might have done something 16 years ago that we have no real proof of, to me, I think that it's more prejudicial than it is probative. When I look at the documents that were presented and signed, I mean, it looks to me that it's called a loan, but I have to ask myself, why would the plaintiff, who's not good friends with the defendant, who has no real relationship with him, why would he just gratuitously, without any hope for profit or more money, give him $5,000? It would only make sense to me that he'd be giving him $5,000 as an investment in his filmmaking, because that would yield him the most money. And I don't think I have to decide if it's a loan or an investment to actually get to the plaintiff's complaint, which is the defendant clearly gave the plaintiff a check that he could not cash. And in fact, in one of the statements here, he writes, I don't have it in there today, I only have $300, but I'll definitely have it for you tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow and those dates came and went. So I think he prevails on that.
Precisely. I think what happened here, it was initially an investment on the part of the plaintiff, but he got cold feet and he converted the investment into a loan, which the defendant agreed to. And as you pointed out, that loan agreement pretty much disposed of the previous agreement that he signed that was clearly an investment. So I think he deserves the $5,000.
With respect to the witness, this isn't a criminal case. It's a small claims proceeding, and you can bring in a witness. But I don't need that witness to come to the conclusion. The document is clear. There is no legally tenable evidence in this case that could make it an investment. The only thing that matters is that signed loan agreement. His attempt to suggest that there was some conversion applicable here, and it was nothing. And I think that he's being disingenuous and dishonest with the court. I would rule in favor of the plaintiff.
I think we all agree we're going to rule in favor of the plaintiff for the $5,000.
For different reasons, perhaps, to some extent.
Okay, then, so we're ready.